As a first-time Apple Watch user, I gotta say, I feel like the whole, I guess, segment of it is like, you don't need it, but you should probably still buy it. As far as this Apple Watch SE goes, I kind of just want to talk about the watch itself and like it being a watch. Thank goodness Apple knows how to make nice feeling devices, because this feels really nice. Everything from like how smooth the sides are to the glass. I even like the way the back looks. Uh-oh, I'm losing a little light here. I even like the way the back looks. I don't know, something about it, it just feels nice. It's got a nice heft to it, nice weight to it. And even this band here, it feels like some sort of rubber, but it feels like a high quality rubber. Even the way like this band works is great. Like for the longest time, I was trying to put it in like a traditional watch, which means I was trying to put this through the little loop first. I was having a really hard time doing it that way, but hey, it's the Apple way, I guess. I was doing it wrong, luckily, because I figured if I was gonna have to do that every single day, it would be a pain in the butt. The way you're supposed to do it, through the pin through the hole first, and then you can put this through and it works perfectly. So luckily on the watch side, it's a nice watch. I gotta say though, the Apple Watch is like a sixth man, right? It's not really a star player, but it's scrappy. It like finds a way to contribute. It puts up assists, it puts up rebounds. It finds a way to get playing time and make your life easier. And that's why I think like, it's not really necessary, right? Everything you can do with this thing here, you can probably do on one of your other Apple devices. But this thing finds a way to contribute and like have little features that make other things easier. I'm running out of light here, so I'm gonna move. And when we do move, we're gonna get into those little features and things you might find useful. And there's actually a chopper going by. Check it out. Let's get out of here. So what little features do I find useful? I can tell you right now, the number one feature is answering phone calls through the Apple Watch, at least for me, because it's super convenient. If you're washing dishes or cooking or doing something, you get a phone call, it's so easy to just tap it, hey, what's up, yada, 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 hang up without having to, take out your phone. It doesn't seem like that much, but trust me, it's super useful. You can also do the same with text. You get a text, you can look at it, and you can reply through there, either using your voice or drawing out the words you want to send. And believe it or not, even though it doesn't sound like it, drawing the words works pretty well. I won't say it's the fastest way, but it's not as bad as you might think. If you got your watch on, it'll unlock your Mac for you. I also like using this as a viewfinder. So if you want to record using the rear-facing camera of your iPhone, you can actually use your Apple Watch as a viewfinder to frame it upright and then hit record. You can also use your Apple Watch as a shutter for the iPhone camera, so you can like prop up your iPhone somewhere if you want to do like a little group picture or something. Hit that shutter and take the photo that way, even though you probably shouldn't be taking group pictures right now. So just take pictures of yourself from a distance using your Apple Watch SE as a shutter button. You can control Spotify with your Apple Watch. You can go to the next track, previous track, raise and lower the volume. You can customize a bunch of different Apple Watch faces to get the exact information you want at a glance. If you wake up using an alarm, this Apple Watch will buzz, and that is more likely to wake you up, in my opinion, than just the sound. Instead of using the volume on your iPhone as an alarm, you can also just use the vibration from your Apple Watch as an alarm. This might be useful if you share a room or a bed with someone, or you just sleep next to someone, and you don't want to make them wake up just because you gotta wake up early. It also can control YouTube. You can raise the volume, lower the volume, go to the next video. It works with the navigation, Google and Apple Maps, so if you're driving or riding your bike or whatever situation you're in, it'll give you the next direction on your watch. I really like how that worked, along with a bunch of other little things. For example, it has like this hand washing feature I like, so it'll count down 20 seconds and then buzz you once you're done. That way you know every single time that your hands are indeed squeaky clean. Anyway, those are just my favorite use cases. You see how each of these features isn't really like a huge game changer, something you absolutely need to have, but everything together, I have to say, is pretty useful. And those are just my favorite. There's obviously a bunch of other features that you could use. For example, I haven't even set up Apple Pay, and that seems super convenient, especially during these times. You won't have to, bust out the cash or the credit card. You could just scan and keep it moving. There are some things that are easy to overlook, but I don't want to overlook them because it adds to the experience, and as Marie Kondo would say, they spark joy. But I really like using this device for like a lot of little reasons. It feels like it's really well thought out. For example, I had a Fitbit before. I sleep with my hands under my head, and if I move my Fitbit in any way, it just blasts light right in my face. With the Apple Watch, it knows when my sleep time is, so it won't do that. As a matter of fact, it won't even activate the screen when you move it. If you want to see the time in the middle of the night, like let's say you wake up or something, you have to actually physically press the crown, and then even then it'll show you the time, but it will be extremely dim. Like it won't bother you at all. And then if you want to get into the Apple Watch itself, you're gonna have to rotate that crown. And I think that's great because this way you can't accidentally get into your Apple Watch while you're sleeping. It's just those little things that make this product feel really well thought out. Another little example, when the Apple Watch unlocks your Mac, it gives you this little haptic feedback that in a way kind of feels like a lock being unlocked. It doesn't just vibrate like whoop. It actually feels like a couple of vibrations. It's hard to explain, but you can tell it was done intentionally. It's just those little details and refinements that make this Apple Watch SE a joy to own and use. My guess is that if you get an Apple Watch, there's gonna be features that you don't even know you wanted that you're gonna find useful to you. All those features I just listed are little parts, right? That's what I was referring to earlier when I was talking about how the watch is not its own superstar, but it's a supporting player. Where the Apple Watch kind of becomes its own star is with Apple Fitness Plus. I started using it and I really like it. Now you can use Apple Fitness Plus without an Apple Watch, but what the Apple Watch does is, for me at least, it just motivates me a little more because you can see your stats on the screen. So, you know, they reference it in like their exercises. They're like, oh, close those rings off or whatever. And also you can see your heart rate. You can see how far along you are and how many calories you've burned off. So even though it's kind of a small thing, it's pretty motivating to see like, hey, see, I've been making some progress. So not everything about the Apple Watch SE is perfect. For example, it's rated at about a day and a half, but really you gotta charge it every day because you're probably gonna wanna sleep with it to track your sleep, and there's hopefully 7 to 8 hours there, hopefully, but you know, you're gonna live your whole day and then you're gonna sleep. And actually it's gotta be at around, I think there's a threshold, I think it's 40%. You gotta at least have 40% of charge to go to sleep. That way you can actually track your sleep and not die in the middle of your sleep. So you gotta find a time at some point during the day to charge it. And coming from a Fitbit, I had to charge that thing like once a week, it seemed like. Definitely can't wait for that battery life to go to the moon. Shout out Doge. So the design, I gotta put it in the con, and it's not that I don't like it. I actually like the design and it's pretty comfortable, but it's pretty prone to scratching because it's just like this bubbly glass. I feel like there's no protection, right? So if I smack it on something or rub up against something, it's definitely gonna get scratched. It already has. So sad. I was like going through a cabinet and I rubbed it right across the metal hinge and it scratched. And if you look at some of these other Android watches, they find a way to make it circular, which probably looks better because more like a traditional watch. And a lot of times they'll have a lip over the glass of the watch, like a lot of watches, where that way if you hit it or rub it against something, it kind of has another layer of protection. But I can't knock it too much because I do feel that this design is more useful to use this shape to run apps and whatnot. Another con that I've run into is the sleep tracking. It's happened more than a couple times where I will be sleeping and then I'll wake up for whatever reason and then I'll go back to sleep, but then the Apple Watch will only track from when I first went to sleep to when I first woke up. It won't count that second time I fell asleep. And that's a little strange because I had a Fitbit before and never once did it ever not track when I went back to sleep. Another thing that I would like to be improved on these Apple Watches is the speakerphone. They're not bad at all. If you're in a quiet room, this thing gets plenty loud. But if you're in a car that doesn't do the best job at keeping the cabin super quiet, you're gonna have a tough time hearing people through the Apple Watch SE on the freeway. It's kind of a bummer because it's super convenient to answer phone calls through your Apple Watch while driving. But I won't say it's totally useless. You'll be okay, but I think you would wish it was a little louder. Now this last thing is a little bit of a gripe with Apple Fitness Plus, because that's where this thing really shines. I just think that it's a lot of money. And I bring this up because Apple Fitness Plus is pretty tied to this Apple Watch. So let me give you a scenario. You get the Apple Watch because you want to be able to use Apple Fitness Plus. Well, that's great. You can get the Apple Watch. Chances are, well, you should definitely have an iPhone. You can do your workouts through the iPhone. But let's be real. The best experience you're gonna have is having Apple Fitness Plus on the TV. And it doesn't work with a TV unless you have Apple TV. So just to get this straight, if you want to get the best experience out of Apple Fitness Plus, you got to get the Apple Watch, you got to subscribe to Apple Fitness Plus, and you have to get the Apple TV. Bear in mind, this Apple TV has been out since like 2016 or 18, something, but it's not new. So you know the next one's right around the corner. And I guess that's not fair to the Apple Watch SE because that's not really a con for it, but I just thought it was worth pointing out. The other thing I wanted to bring up about the design is, given that this design seems like a little bit fragile, a little bit prone to scratching and maybe even breaking, and then when you combine that with the fact that you're gonna be doing active things with it, you're gonna be physically active, whether it's like working out on Apple Fitness Plus or, you know, hitting the gym, or maybe you play sports, you know, you're gonna want to be tracking what you're doing on your watch. So, and I don't mean that it's fragile, like it's just gonna break. I just mean that the screen is very open, right? So if you fall, that's gonna be the first thing. If you rub against something, that's gonna be the first thing that gets hit. So given that combination of those two things, like you're gonna be physically active and the screen is just exposed like that, I would be a little bit nervous about wearing this thing with no case and without Apple Care. So that is definitely something to consider if you plan on doing something very active with your Apple Watch on, because that is an added cost. I personally got Apple Care because I really enjoy this and I didn't want to have to use this with a big old clunky case and then a screen protector that will probably affect the touchscreen sensitivity. Those are just my thoughts. In conclusion, is the Apple Watch SE worth your $280? Although I said you don't really need it, I say yes, absolutely. I feel like there's enough software features there, there's enough things that it helps you out with, and there's enough things that it can do for a multitude of people that make it worth it. If it makes your life a little bit better every single day, which I think it has the potential to do, definitely I think it's worth it. And the other part of it is the enjoyment of owning and using it. That's something I feel like a lot of tech people don't really consider, or people who are buying something don't really consider, like, how much are you gonna like using and owning this? And when it comes to the Apple Watch SE, I love owning and using it. I like it a lot because it has a lot of little features that's gonna make life easier for you. Because Apple Fitness Plus is pretty great, even though it's a little pricey. But it's totally, even Apple Fitness Plus is totally worth it if you're gonna use it, which I think you will because it's a pretty good service. Because it's been a joy to use, just from its smoothness to how everything is really well thought out, I say definitely, it's definitely worth using. I give it I don't know, the certified stamp of approval. So I know this isn't the most technical review. There's a bunch of other reviews that would do that. But I wanted to get my thoughts out there because I wanted to maybe show you what I got out of it. We can look at specs all day long. We can look at a feature sheet all day long and see like, wow, you can do X, Y, and Z. But I kind of wanted to tell you what I got out of it without forcing anything, with just using the watch and have like features just coming up. I kind of just told you the things that I use on a daily basis. And if you get more out of it, great. And you probably can. So I want to know in the comment section down below, if you have an Apple Watch, what's your favorite feature? Because I'm willing to bet that a lot of people have different favorite features or different features that they use. Anyway, if you like the video, don't forget to like it. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And if you want to help support the channel, buy something on Amazon using my affiliate link. I'll link it to the Apple Watch SE, but you can click on it and then search whatever you want. It would greatly be appreciated. It helps me out a lot. But if not, I still love you and I'll catch you next time. Bye.